first question goes to Mr. Jeneroux. Mr. Jeneroux.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the Chief Public Health Officer of Canada testified at our Health Committee this week that she waited too long to close the borders. Would the Deputy Prime Minister agree with her?
The Honourable Deputy Prime Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you for the question. Let me just say that Canada currently has very restrictive border measures in place. One of the aspects of our border measures that I think is most valuable to Canadians.
Mr. Jeneroux.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would remind the member that it was on December 31st, 2019, that a Canadian company, Blue Dot, first discovered evidence of the coronavirus spread. It was also in early January that the Public Health Agency was made aware of the potential spread to Canada. But it wasn't until March 16th, after many calls from all opposition parties, I might add, that this government implemented travel bans. So again, would the Deputy Prime Minister agree that her government waited too long to close the borders?
The Honourable Deputy Prime Minister.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Let me just continue my answer. One of the most important and I would say trickiest aspects of our travel restrictions has been to ensure that we have restrictions in place with our largest neighbor, most important trading partner, the United States, restrictions which simultaneously protect the health of Canadians, but also permit essential travel for businesses, for services. That was a complex balance to achieve. I'm very pleased that we have achieved it.
Now we'll go back to Mr. Jeneroux. Mr. Jeneroux.
After all this evidence, now in hindsight, would the Deputy Prime Minister agree with me that the Public Health Agency, and specifically the Minister of Health, lacked the urgency to effectively contain the spread of COVID-19 like in other countries?
The Honourable Deputy Prime Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As I said, getting the balance exactly right, particularly with the United States, with whom we have the longest unmilitarized border in the world and with whom we have essential trade that needs to continue, was very tricky. I'm very pleased that we've managed to do that in a reciprocal and collaborative way.
Go back to Mr. Jeneroux. Mr. Jeneroux.
To the Deputy Prime Minister, is Canada currently facing or at risk of drug shortages due to COVID-19?
The Honourable Deputy Prime Minister.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. We are very closely monitoring the need for various medicines in Canada.
Okay, we'll go back to Mr. Jeneroux.
Can the Deputy Prime Minister confirm that some drugs, including life-saving drugs, have not sought approval here in Canada due to the uncertainty of the PMPRP drug regulatory changes?
The Honourable Deputy Prime Minister.
Absolutely not. I would strongly disagree with that assertion. Of course, not every drug which is invented in the world has a manufacturer who seeks approval in Canada, but we always look for ways for Canadians to have access to the medicines they need.
Mr. Jeneroux.
Has a Deputy Prime Minister heard that the PMPRB regulatory changes could lead to drug shortages?
The Honourable Deputy Prime Minister.
Let me be very, very clear with Canadians. It is absolutely important for Canadians to have access to the medicines they need, and that is something that our government, working closely with the provinces, is focused on.
Will the Deputy Prime Minister delay the PMPRB regulatory changes that come into effect on July 1st?
The Honourable Deputy Prime Minister.
Our government is focused on making the medicines that Canadians need available to them at an affordable price.
Mr. Jeneroux, you have 50 seconds left.
The Health Minister has dragged her feet on this, and patients are looking for certainty. Again, will the Deputy Prime Minister step in and delay the PMPRB regulatory changes that are set to come into force on July 1st?
The Honourable Deputy Prime Minister.
Let me first of all say our health minister is doing a fantastic job. She, like the rest of our government, is focused on ensuring that all Canadians have access to the medicines they need and that our country doesn't pay more than we need to for the medicines our country needs.